Hey, today I'm going to share with you how to simplify a busy life and business. Let me know, my friend, if that is you. This is something that I know I've definitely had to overcome, and I still go through to this day because, hello, life is unpredictable, which can affect everything around us. If you're a mom and have kids like me, it affects your business too, right? Sometimes, it's not necessarily my business that's burning me out. It comes to just goals in general, whether it be my health goals or just anything that I'm looking to achieve, I am the biggest culprit, I guess, however you want to say it, in terms of just kind of that self sabotage and just overwhelming and overcomplicating everything. So the question is, where do I go from here? How do I start? How do I how do I simplify, right? Simply simplify. And most people overcomplicate things. Most people are overwhelmed and are stressed out. And a lot of the times, as much as we don't want to hear it, that overwhelm that we're feeling are feelings that we place on ourselves. So, how do we pull this out of it? Because if we're overwhelmed, if we're stressed, if we're frustrated and doing all the things and trying to please everybody, right, that leads to what the goal is that we have for ourselves. That leads to inconsistency. And worse yet, some people just want to just throw in the towel altogether and just give up. So, how do we stop that from happening? That's the conversation that I want to have with you today. And what would it look like to create an effective strategy? Not my strategy, but what I'm hoping to help you do is to help you create and identify a strategy, an effective strategy that works for you, that you, my friend, are aligned with. So that's what I'm all about here. So my name is Melissa Kibler. If we're meeting for the first time, and I'm just so excited to have you with me here today. I'm a former teacher turned entrepreneur, and I've had just the ups and downs, this roller coaster of a ride when it comes to building my business online. And I kind of look at it as like a holistic approach. It's not just one thing. It's not just strategy. There's so much involved when it comes to hitting goals and success and really everything that you want in this life. So that's what I'm all about. I'm all about just keeping it simple, profitable, fun. I really believe in just freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, and just living our best life. So who's with me? That's what I'm all about. But my goal and intention is to help you break things down, to really more so help you identify the main thing, because it's all about focus. It's all about choosing the main thing to be the main thing. And in this episode today, I'm actually going to break down, there's 5 areas that are really going to help you. So when you walk away, you're going to feel more in control of your life and business, and just letting go of that clutter, really identifying and focusing on, okay, this is the thing that I'm going to make the main thing that I'm going to commit to. I'm going to help to break that down for you in terms of, oh my gosh, I've been this way. I've been feeling like this for a long time. Where do I start? How do I do this? So what does this do for you? By simplifying and by identifying what your main thing is, this is what it does for you. It creates more space, right? Up here, most importantly, it creates more space. It helps you to reduce and lessen that stress, that overwhelm in your brain, okay? And you know what else that does? It allows you to just allow your life and your day-to-day just flow more effortlessly, just more with flow and ease and joy in the doing, like in the day-to-day. So that's what I'm really going to break down. So when you keep things simple, that's when the traction happens. That's when the momentum happens. Rather than trying to do everything and spreading yourself thin, we're going to kind of pull everything back a little bit. We're just going to identify, nope, this is the main thing. This is what I'm focusing on. And I'm super committed. And I'm going to do that one thing every single day even if I'm scared to do it, because you know what? Growth happens outside of our comfort zones. I know you know that as well too. And it takes getting uncomfortable, but especially when we choose the main thing and the action, if it's something that we want to happen in our lives and we identify, yes, that's what's important to me, it aligns just with everything like to your core, then you're willing, right? You're willing to almost step outside of that comfort zone and to get uncomfortable in doing the things that sometimes may scare you, that sometimes may be holding you back right now. So let's dive into it. I wrote down a ton of notes. I want to make sure that I stay on track for myself, but also to help you leave here with some actionable steps. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. So if you're taking notes right now, there's going to be 5 things, and it kind of does actually go in order. So these 5 things, you want to start with number 1. I want you to write out everything that you're doing right now. And this is going to make more sense in just a bit, but you want to identify what's serving you right now and what's not serving you. Because like I mentioned before, whatever goal you have, whether it's health or business or relationships, whatever goal that you have, we can have that one area of focus, but sometimes there's things that happen outside of us that are maybe beyond our control that still affect how we arrive at this place of what we want in those areas, right? So from a holistic kind of perspective, this is why this part is so important, to really slow down. And I know every day is different. Life is different every single day, right? What life throws at us sometimes, but I'm talking about the day-to-day that are kind of like habitual, the things like in your life, with your kids, in your business. What are the things, list them out right now, write down. What are the things that are working for you right now that are effective? And what are the things that are not? And another question, this one's really, really, really good. This is a question that I want you to write down. And actually, I want you to ask yourself this question every single day, every single week. What's draining or exhausting you right now? That's huge, because without knowing that, it's almost hard to move forward and make those positive changes until you can almost place a name and label. What's draining my energy? What's exhausting me right now? And remember again, your core values. Think right now, I want you to think about like, what are your core values right now? Oftentimes the things that we say we want, the things that we say are important to us, a lot of the times our actions aren't really lining up. Those actions and behaviors and the things that we do aren't really lining up, which causes us to feel just out of alignment and just chaotic and all the things, right? So I want you to do that self check-in. What are your core values in terms of what you're doing right now, which leads me to number 2. I want, in order to create more of that simplicity in this area of your life that you want right now, this is the time I want you to say it out loud. Choose the main thing that you want to focus on. What is that main thing for you right now? And again, everybody's different, right? So if your main thing is, I'm working on my best to be like the healthiest I can be, and my health is my main priority right now, or my business and getting to a certain place in my business is super important to me right now. Maybe it's with your kids or relationships, and that's a priority right now. Everybody's different. Everybody's in a different season. But the thing is, like, we can't have everything be our main thing. So that whole work-life balance, yes, we want to tend to those things that matter most, to us, but there come seasons. And I'm not saying to totally neglect those other things, but it's so important to choose out of everything, what season am I in right now? What is my main thing that I want to focus on? That's the best and most important thing to you right now, today, not 12 months down the road, not a couple of years down the road, but today. So what's now, like, that's another question. What is chaotic right now in my life? What is causing a lot of stress? What kind of seems like a lot? And maybe you have some business priorities and goals. What's the most chaotic in business right now? What's causing you that stress? This could be anything in your life, anything in your business. So choosing the main thing. What do you want right now, and identify, is this something, this is also going to give you this like this clue and indicator. Is this something that I want right now? Or am I willing to kind of push it off later? Right? Like that's the question right there. Is this something that's really important to me right now, today, that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there? Or is it something like, yeah, it sounds good, that I can kind of push off later and I'm okay with it? So right now, number two, and again, if you want to come back, that's why I want you to take some notes, because choose the main thing. The rest of these are really kind of obsolete unless you can identify, when you list out all the things and you choose right now today, make that commitment. What's my main thing? What is it that I say I focus on and I want to strive for, whatever that goal may be, and I'm willing to commit to it. I'm willing to put in the work, the time, the energy, the effort. I'm willing to go through the pain. I'm willing to go through that emotional roller coaster of the ups and the downs. Okay. What is that for you? Now, once you have that, once you have identified, yes, this is my main thing, this is what I'm solely going to focus on. Maybe you have this big aspiration and goal, this target for 2023. And I even just want you to simplify, like in the next 30, 60, 90 days, like what are you focused on right now? Number three, we must prioritize. So now that we have that thing, whether it be an area of your health or fitness or your life or some kind of a target in your business, income goal, whatever, it could be anything. Now, here's where, once you've identified the main thing, I want you to now kind of brain dump, what are all the things that I might need to do that will lead me closest to hitting that goal? So if you're like an overachiever, a high achiever like me, you're like, oh, well, I can do this and I could do this. And oh, that sounds great too. And you want to do it all. But we know that if we do it all, we're going to spread ourselves too thin, right? We're going to burn ourselves the heck out. And we don't want to do that, right? Like, no, thank you. I know I don't want to. So if you're kind of struggling right now and you've been at this thing and you're like beating yourself up and that self-sabotage, let's kick it right now and let's be done with it. And let's really identify, out of all the things that you're going to be writing down, out of all the things that I could be doing, I want you to look at that list. And out of that list, I want you now, this is going to help you to prioritize. I want you to identify the number one thing out of them all. What's the one thing that I know if I do it and I do it consistently and I show up, that's definitely going to lead me closest to that target. I know that it's going to help me get there faster and hit those goals that I want to. So now's the time to like weed those things out, right? I'm not saying they're not important, but in determining to keep things just simple, so that way we can just look forward to our day and it's not so overcomplicated. And you know what? It just seems more manageable, right? It's like, okay, I can do this. If I can just focus on this one thing, then it's going to be moving me closer. And here's where, my friend, like, you're not going to feel like you're falling off so much in that inconsistency, because when you focus on that main thing, what it allows you to do is now, because of the action that you're taking and you're doing it consistently and every single day, you're going to see something, right? Either, that traction and momentum happening. It's going to allow you to feel more of that traction and momentum when you're focusing on that one thing. So, okay, we talked about identifying your main thing of focus right now to get you closest. And also too, to help you answer that question, what might need more of my discipline or focus, right? Identify the things that you might be procrastinating or resisting, even though like, this is what I need to do. And yes, it aligns to my goal, but maybe it's outside of my comfort zone. So this is a thing where you almost need to just say, again, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And if that's the one thing, I'm going to commit to it for not only that goal that I want, but for me, right? That's the most important thing, is you're doing it for you. So what's the one thing that you know you want and need to be really good at in order to achieve your desired result. So, and you've heard this before, the more you do something, the easier it becomes, the better you are at doing that thing. So I want you to make sure you kind of push yourself a little bit and challenge yourself. It's about getting outside of our comfort zones. They say growth happens outside of our comfort zone. If we stay doing the same thing over and over and over again, we stay playing small. We play kind of that mediocrity and kind of getting the same result, but not really moving forward, not growing, not truly playing and stepping into our full potential that we know we are capable of. Right? So I'm challenging you. What is it that you want? You've identified the main thing. Now you're listing out all the things that you can do that might lead you closer to that. But now I want you to choose out of them all. I want you to choose what's the main thing, and maybe 2 or 3, but I would not choose more than 3 things. I would keep it to 1 to 3 that this is what I'm going to really hone in and focus on, and to make it my priority, commit to it for at least 30 days straight, 30, 60, 90 days, right? Building that muscle, building that habit up for yourself as well too, which leads me to number 4. Okay. Now, once you have that, now it's all about number 4 is discipline and consistency. So we know that we don't have control over our results, but we do have control over the things that we can do, right? Our actions, our behaviors, the doing, right? We have control over those things that we know can lead us closer to the result, because we know we don't have control over actually getting the result or not, but what it takes to actually do that. So here's the other thing too, where most people tend to fall off or fall short. I want you to focus on the process, not the progress right now. You see more people, so many people fall off when they're not getting the result that we're looking for. They're not getting the weights coming off on the scale. For those of you who are in business and building an online business, they fall off when they're not seeing the likes and the comments and people reaching out and getting a customers and growing a team or whatever that looks like for you. When they don't see the progress and the result on the back end, that's, my friends, where most people are like, well, it's not really working. I'm not really getting, the reaction or the result on, from this. So it must not be working. It must be this strategy or something. So I'm going to switch it up. And we keep switching it up completely, like a 180, 360. And we wonder why we're not getting closer to actually hitting the thing. And we wonder why we always tend to either, fall short of it or just give up altogether. So what I want you to do is to focus on the process and not the progress. So it goes back to identifying what is it that you really want to hit, that target, but also what about that is truly important to you? Like, no, really, like, what is it for you? Like you say you want this thing, but what about that is truly important to you? You got to have this investment with that. You got to have that connection. You got to feel invested, where no matter what, it's going to be tough. And it's almost like it's kind of like letting go of some of those higher expectations sometimes, and just know it's going to be hard. This is not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but I'm willing to do what it takes. So it's all about setting a specific ambition, something that just lights you up. And when you have that one single right now kind of specific ambition, now you might have a bigger vision, but you're like, well, this is what my mile markers, right? This is what I need to do first. And then this is kind of like in the mix of my plan and strategy. I'd like to hit this at some point and this at some point. So you have the one thing. We just identified that in step number 2, right? Identifying that one thing. And when you identify that specific ambition and you're like, yes, this is important to me, I'm sticking to it, I'm doing this for me, like you're not going to stop until you hit it. You're not going to keep changing the targets. The target's going to stay the same, but you're going to keep doing that and have a relentless pursuit to hit the thing, right? So when you have that deep connection to it, you're going to be, you almost have to say, I'm all in, right? I'm all in on me right now. And of course, you're in your process. Okay, notice how I said process. So you're not changing the thing, but when you evaluate your overall like process, the things that you're doing, when you evaluate those things on the daily and the weekly, you can dial in your process a little bit more, but you're not going to be too off of actually like the target and you showing up and doing the do every single day. So let me know, like, hopefully that makes sense, but that's something where I had to really think about out of all the things that I'm doing. I just knew I was spreading myself too thin. I knew I wasn't truly enjoying the journey, even though I knew it was going to be painful and hard. I had to create more simplicity, and that's how I've been able to do it. Okay. Now, number 5 is in terms of like keeping things simple and keeping you kind of just like focused on that target is having a deadline. Now, we either love or we hate them, right? So the power of the deadline, especially what I think is so important, is that you have the deadline to create the accountability within yourself. Like we're not looking, even though accountability partners are great, but we don't need or should rely on an accountability partner or a mentor to hold us accountable. If the thing that you said is really important to you and that's the thing that you want, that has to come from you. There's got to be some self accountability in that, and your mentor or that accountability partner can be like, yes, let's go. You said you were going to do it, and kind of help you to pull yourself out of it faster. But essentially that self accountability has to come from you. And again, this is all, I mean, there's a power in having deadlines. If you are working for yourself right now, we don't have anybody else looking over our shoulder. If you have a health goal or a fitness goal, if you don't have like a trainer, like you don't have somebody looking over your shoulder if you're working out at home every day, right? This has got to come from you. There's power in even having deadlines, because when you think about that bigger target and vision, like you might have one for 2023. And if you reverse engineer that back, it's important because now you know if you craft them right and you create them, you want something that's measurable. So say within the next 30, 60, 90 days, you know, okay, I got to hit it here. That's your deadline, right? That's your deadline. And then when you go through all the things that we just talked about, then that's going to help you to stay super focused during that time. And you have that deadline in a sense to strive for. So if doing something for a lengthy amount of time over and over and over again is hard and it's challenging for you, then here's what I suggest. Start small. Maybe your deadline in a sense is like, I'm going to do this for 7 days. But you see how you have a number on it, you know, like I'm doing this for 7 days, or I'm doing this for 3 or 4 days. Like if you're really inconsistent, like I'm going to do this for 4 days straight or 5 days straight, or I'm going to do this today. I'm going to commit. Maybe it's 1 day, right? I'm just going to commit. I'm just going to do this today. And then you're like, at the end of the day, I did it. I know I just proved to myself that I could do it. I'm going to do it again. You're building up the belief in yourself that you can do it, right? Do you know how powerful that is? So imagine this. Now you go for 7 days. I did it for 7 days. Can I do it for 2 weeks? Go for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You're building up your muscle there, that mental muscle, that mental toughness. And now you can set that target for, I'm going to do it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And I typically tend to work within the 90 days that 3-month mark, like quarterly, to have like a focus. Because sometimes when I think about the entire year, it's too much, and then it's like, oh, I have all year this, and then we try to play catch up at the end of the year. So what I like to do is kind of break it up into quarterly. Every single quarter, I can kind of take a look at my whole life and look at all areas of my life, my business, my family, my relationships, the fun that I want to have in my life. I look at all areas and I kind of do a check-in, and what I do is I have these goals or targets in each one of those areas. And I kind of ask myself with each quarter, where am I at? What's my number one focus right now? What's the number 1 to 3 things that I'm going to be committing to every single day to make that happen? And that helps you with the discipline, and it helps you with the consistency. And then especially when you put a deadline into that as well too, you have something that you're striving for a certain amount of time. So that's just been a game changer for me. And remember too, like achieving big goals, achieving anything is not easy. Otherwise, we'd all be like super successful, super fit, like all the things, like it's just not easy. But what I want you to remember is it's all about the journey. If you lean into and embrace the process, not the progress, but the process. You have to be committed to doing the things every single day or week, that's going to get you closer to what you truly want. And that could be, again, anything in business. It could even be like, I want a clean house, for example. Like, what does that look like? Do you see how you can really transfer this to anything? What does it really look like? What is it that you need to do in order to make that happen? And you start to reverse engineer. Now I have a deadline. I want this done by, month 1 or within 3 months. And it's now, you have a game plan, you have a strategy, and you're more committed and invested because it truly means something to you. And you understand what that is for you. It's kind of like a little selfish, and you kind of need to be right now. Okay. So that's what I wanted just to bring it to you. I want to keep it real. I want to keep it simple. I want to keep this fun, right? Because that's what I truly believe. Like, we were all born to thrive in life, in business, in our health, like in so many different areas. Like, we were all born to thrive. So if you're not feeling that right now, I just want to give you some hope and inspiration that yes, you can do it. But sometimes when you think like everything is so complicated right now and crazy and chaotic, and you're busy in life and business, but are kind of spinning your wheels and feel like you're not really moving forward or getting that traction or momentum on those little mile markers, then I'm hoping that when you can kind of come back to these 5 things that I just shared with you, it helps to keep things in perspective, and it helps you to simplify and to keep things simple. And you know what else that does? And I can't remember if I mentioned this to you or not. It's about showing up for you, right? It ultimately, when you show up for you, it creates more motivation, just drive, a bigger sense of purpose and a sense of accomplishment. And what else it does? It's that self-worth at the end of the day. Like, for me, it's like, yes, it's that validation. I am worthy to have the things that I want to have. And this is how I'm going to do it. Right? And just be on fire about it. People can just feel your energy, that shift. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, you're on fire. I can just tell. Like, you want that excitement for whatever that you're a part of to be your mission right now. And people are going to see it and ask you about it, and just embrace that. And have that support around you, and build up a community around you. Have mentors or people like me or whoever else that you turn to in your corner to cheer you on. Like, I know I want to be just cheering you on. So let me know. It's really just getting clear on what you want and what you don't want. It's getting clear on what you stand for and what you stand against. Again, to keep things simple, to let go of that extra clutter in your life and up here, and having clarity on like what's your core message and the driver and where it's coming from, because that's what's going to keep you just on fire and on track, and to be more intentional about what you're doing and to evaluate what you're doing, so that way you stay the course. So by doing so, you're just going to feel more ease and just more focus, more joy, and you're going to be able to keep it super, super simple. So listen, that's what I have for you today. I hope that you found so much value. Let me know if you found value. Share this with your friends if you feel like they could get some value out of this as well. I'd love to connect on all the socials. I'm at Melissa Kibler. So let me know there too which episode this was from, so we can go ahead and engage and connect. And also too, if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe, because I go live every single week sharing something new and different, with training episodes that can help you to just build a thriving life and business through personal experience and working with hundreds of personal students of mine too. So this is something that's not just something that I say and talk about, but these are the things that I'm actually doing. These are the things that are actually working, not only for me, but for the other, countless of other students of mine that I work with as well too. So again, I hope that you got so much value from this, my friends, and just keep it simple. Just remember to keep things simple. Go back to this episode if you're feeling like you're kind of a little scattered or all over the place. But remember, like, you were born to thrive. Make it a great day. Make it a great week. Let me know how it goes for you. And I cannot wait to chat with you again soon. Take care.